Kiersten here. Today we're going to talk about imagination. What is imagination, you might ask? Imagination is about being creative and showing your original side. Have you ever gone outside and looked up at the clouds and seen a shape or an animal? Like maybe a whale jumping above the treetops, or a spaceship hovering high in the sky, maybe even a heart. Imagination is what allows us to be creative. Sometimes the things that you imagine can become real, and sometimes the things you imagine make really good stories, like the story that our friend Marco is going to tell you in just a few moments. It's a story called "And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street" by Dr. Seuss. It's Marco's tale of his walk home from school one day, and you'll never believe the things that he saw. Just give me 1 minute and I'll grab them for you. Hi, I'm Marco, and this is my story. When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, "Marco, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see." But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, "Your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales." Now what can I say when I get home today? All the long way to school and all the long way back, I've looked and I've looked and I've kept careful track. But all that I've noticed, except my own feet, was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. That's nothing to tell of. That won't do. Just a broken down wagon that's drawn by a horse. That can't be my story. That's only a start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling the cart. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Yes, the zebra is fine, but I think it's a shame. Such a marvelous beast with a cart that's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer. A golden blue chariot's something to me, rolling like thunder down Mulberry Street. No, it won't do at all. A zebra's too small. A reindeer is better. He's fast and he's fleet, and he'll look mighty smart on old Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. A reindeer and a sleigh? Say anyone could think of that. Jack, or Fred, or Joe, or Nat. Say even Jane could think of that. But it isn't too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant. Now there's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size. A blue one with plenty of fun in his eyes. Just to give him a little more tone, have Raja with rubies perched high on the throne. Say, that makes a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But now I don't know. It still doesn't seem right. An elephant pulling a thing that's so light would whip it around in the air like a kite. But he'd look simply grand with a great big brass band. A band that's so good should have someone to hear it. But it's going so fast that you can't keep near it. I'll put on a trailer. I know they won't mind if a man sits and listens while hitched on behind. But now is it fair? Is it fair what I've done? I'll bet those things weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy a load for one beast. He'll need some helpers, I think 2 at least. But now, what worries me is this. Mulberry runs into bliss. Unless there's something I can fix up, there's going to be an awful traffic mix-up. It takes police to do the trick, to guide through where traffic's thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. They'll race at top speed with Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. The mayor is there, and he thinks it's grand, and he raises his hat as they dash by the stand. Now that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. And with a roar of its motor, an airplane appears, and it dumps down confetti while everyone cheers. And that makes a story that's really not bad. But I suppose that I add a Chinese man who eats with sticks, a big magician doing tricks, a 10-foot beard that needs a comb. No time for more, I'm almost home. I swung down the corner and dashed through the gate. I ran up the steps and I felt simply great, for I had the story that no one could beat, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, just draw up your stool and tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much to tell, I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply and pulled at his chin. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you or make your heart beat? Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street. Now just remember what Dr. Seuss always says. Think left and think right, think low and think high. Oh, the things you can think if only you try. Never lose your imagination.